Hello and welcome to the first of many, hopefully, GHE Entrance podcast. I'm Bob.
I'm Joe, and if you are familiar with our website, we just started about a month ago talking about Detroit sports and all the needs you people want.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, the URL is thegordiehowentrance.wordpress.com. We hope you'll check us out. All right, Joe, so we're going to talk trade deadline today on the podcast, and it's already been an exciting event, and it's only Saturday.
Yeah, the NHL trade deadline is right up there with baseball. It's one of the more active ones. You always get a lot of moves going on, and yesterday we had our first big splash already, more than 5 days away.
And that splash came between St. Louis and Buffalo. Now, to recap the trade, Buffalo sends Steve Ott and Ryan Miller to St. Yaroslav Halak, Chris Stewart, some guy named William Carrier, and a conditional 2015 first-round pick and third-round pick in 2016. So, Joe, what do you think this trade means for both sides?
I heard grumblings about this for the past couple weeks, and Buffalo, obviously, they knew they probably weren't going to be re-signing Ryan Miller. They needed to rebuild anyway. And I think for St. Louis, this makes them one of the top couple cup contenders. Ryan Miller is a franchise goalie who can steal you series.
St. Louis is definitely a scarier team now, someone you probably don't want to face coming down the stretch in the Western Conference. The conditions on the draft picks deal with whether or not Ryan Miller re-signs with St. Louis after the season, and also depending on how they finish in the Western Conference if they make the finals. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I think it's a huge win for St. Louis, and they're already tied for first in the Western Conference and the Central Division, and this just absolutely bolsters their net presence. I think it makes them a huge favorite going into the playoffs.
So let's shift the focus back east here, where we reside, and talk a little Red Wings. First off, we'll break down the forwards, and then we'll move into defensemen and go from there. So forwards, who's available? Top of our list right now is a man from the Michigan area, Ryan Kessler. So his agent denies that he requested a trade, and Vancouver isn't necessarily shopping him, but they've said that they're aggressively listening to any offers. What do you think that means for the Red Wings in the Ryan Kessler bid?
One thing, Ryan Kessler has a no-trade clause. So being from here, I think the Red Wings may be one of the teams that would make his short list. And personally, I'm a Ryan Kessler guy. He's my kind of player. He plays hard. He wins the majority of his faceoffs. He gets down, he blocks shots, he puts pucks in, he does everything. And I would love to have a guy like that on our team. In my opinion, he's like a Ryan Callahan plus 10.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the price is going to be right on him. I know that one of the big topics is that we just don't have that much cap space right now to be bringing in superstar players.
Yeah, and I know Ken Holland said he doesn't want to move prospects. He wants to keep the young guys. And the thing with Ryan Kessler here is the rumor is he asked for a trade. And, I mean, the agent comes out and says he didn't. But if that's the case, I feel like that drops the trade value a little bit. If you know a guy wants out, you can maybe get him for a little cheaper. He's hurt right now, which could also drop his value a little bit. But that also kind of leads me to believe Vancouver may not move him if they're not going to get the value they're absolutely looking for, which may be a little high for the Red Wings.
So let's, on that trend, let's keep talking about some high-value guys that probably are a little bit out of the Red Wings' pocketbook. Mike Camilleri from Calgary. Brian Burke said that they've offered him an extension, but they are still shopping him around. The story kind of sounds like Camilleri might want to get out of Calgary, but it's going to have to be for the right price.
Yeah, Mike Camilleri is another guy like, University of Michigan grad. And, he's a guy that can put the puck in the net, which the Red Wings could use right now. Franzen's looked good coming back, but, we've had problems all season getting pucks in the net. The only problem is he's going to be expensive, and the Red Wings don't have room for that. And, I have a feeling that he's not going to get re-signed in Calgary. Something tells me his heart's just not there anymore. Maybe it's because they're so terrible. But yeah, he's going to get moved, I think, and it's not going to be here realistically.
So that brings us to Ryan Callahan, a guy that we've mentioned earlier. We love his game. We love the way that he played in the Olympics. He's kind of a grinder, but he can also put the puck in the net, and you really like to see that. It's kind of interesting because he is the captain of the team, and he seems like he's on his way out after the Girardi signing. Probably another guy that's out of our price range.
Yeah, Ryan Callahan, it's pretty much a given he's going to be moved now that Dan Girardi just signed for, I believe it was 6 years, $5.5 million. And, it's always, he's a guy you like. He does everything. He grinds hard. He blocks shots, but at the same time, he's going to be expensive come this offseason as he's an upcoming free agent. And he's the kind of guy the Red Wings seem to have a lot of, like guys who play hard but don't necessarily score a bunch of goals. And although I love his game, I just don't think he's a great fit here right now.
Yeah. So there's a couple other guys. Marty St. Louis, Thomas Vanek. Other guys who are, like St. Louis, for example, we kind of decided that he's probably going to get moved, but it might not be till the offseason. He's got the no-trade clause. Thomas Vanek, the Islanders offered him a deal, which he rejected. There's a handful of teams interested in him, but he's probably going to go to free agency. He's just going to be a rental wherever he goes. And the Red Wings don't really need a guy like that. We don't want just a rental player. We want someone long-term.
Yeah, and as Ken Holland said, he wants to make a hockey move. He doesn't want to have a rental. And from what Thomas Vanek has said, he has every intention of, no matter where he ends up, of going to free agency on July 1st. And he wants to test that market because he wants the big bucks. He wants to get paid like he thinks he should.
Yeah, and we don't really need a guy like that. I don't like that attitude. It just doesn't sit well with me. We want guys who actually want to be here, not just win and then leave. Matt Molson, another free agent that's rumored to be interested in, the Senators have rumored to be interested in him. He's probably out of our price range. Like we looked, what was it, plus $5 million a year he wanted.
Yeah, Matt Molson, and he's hitting free. He's going to be a free agent this summer, and if you're going to re-sign him, he's going to be asking a lot of money. He's going to be one of the top forwards in the free agent list this summer. And although I like him and he scores goals, he's coming from Buffalo. They're looking for a lot, and we don't want to give up the young prospects that they're looking for. So as much as I want him, I don't think he's coming here, and he could end up in Ottawa with Chris Stewart, and that could put a little pressure on us. So
let's jump down a little bit. Chris Stewart, you mentioned he just got traded yesterday from St. Louis to Buffalo, but the rumor is that Buffalo's not done yet, and they're looking to make a deal with Ottawa to possibly move Stewart. Stewart is a guy that I like. I like the way he plays, a big, strong, power forward, not afraid of fighting or anything like that. It's really a type of guy that you used to see in the league but doesn't really exist anymore. I don't know. It would be nice to have a guy like that on the wings, like an enforcer who can also score. We don't necessarily have a player like that anymore. You got guys like Tutu, not afraid to fight, but you don't want to waste a roster spot on a guy like that.
Yeah, people are calling for Tutu to come back up after the Chris Neal incident, and Tutu, let's be honest, is a useless player. He's small. Sure, he'll fight, but he serves no other purpose. Chris Stewart, he's a big guy. He'll get into the dirty areas. He would fight Chris Neal if he needed to, but he'll also score some goals. And he's really a complete player. And I really like Chris Stewart. And I think if Ottawa can pull off him and Molson, they're going to get real scary coming into intruding on our playoff hopes, because they're right behind us in the standings right now, and the last thing we need is them getting two key players like that. And sure, they're going to have to give up a lot of prospects, but in the here and now, that makes Ottawa a pretty dangerous team. Yeah,
they're another one of those bubble teams where if the couple of other pieces fall into place, they could be real scary come playoff time. How about some of my boys, my Brad boys down in Florida. This guy, we looked at his numbers and we really like the way he's been playing. He's only 31, he's still got some hockey left in him. He's got 17 goals this season, 11 assists. He'll be unrestricted this offseason. We really like Brad Boys.
Yeah, I've liked Brad Boys through his whole journey. He's been a pretty solid player to me. And I think a guy like that, we could use the production out of him. The only issue I have is he's going to free agency this summer. He said if he's on a cup contender, he'll consider re-signing. But it's another guy that's kind of pointing towards, I want to go to free agency and get the most money I can. Obviously, he's been in New York, the Islanders, and he's been in Florida. So the winning may not be top on his list next to the money.
Yeah. One more thing, though, about Brad Boys is we've seen the Red Wings play this season. They seem to go to overtime quite a bit and get to the shootout, and Brad Boys lives for the shootout. He's like a TJ Oshie type of dude. He's got the hands. It'd be a complete product. It would be nice if we could get a guy like that, not necessarily him, but lock him up long term.
Yeah, Brad Boys, if we could sign him after trading for him, I'd probably be a little more for it. But yeah, I think he would be a nice piece the Wings could add for a depth forward, second or third line. He could do some damage.
And let's not forget another Florida boy, Stephen Weiss, coming back off injury. He should be back probably by the next game, maybe at least next week, I'd hope. We'll see if he can produce a little more than he did before he got hurt.
Yeah, because at this point, I'd really do anything to get rid of Stephen Weiss in that contract that looks absolutely atrocious right now.
All right, so shifting gears a little bit, we broke down some of the forwards. Let's talk about defensemen. Andy McDonald, not the Andy McDonald that I thought from St. Louis, but the guy from New York Islanders. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. He wouldn't cost too much. He's only making, the league minimum, $500K right now. And he leads the league in block shots, 27 years old. What's the thought there?
Yeah, I've seen from some Islanders people that they think McDonald's a little overrated, not as good as people are projecting him to be. But, he's making $500,000. He leads the league in block shots. And the thought is that if we trade, because McDonald's right up there on our list. And if we give them Kindle, we might get McDonald and a draft pick back. And I got to tell you, I would trade Kindle for a box of pretzels right now.
That's pretty solid. I mean, Kindle's hurt right now, but you got to remember that he was being healthy scratch before he even got hurt, and we've been doing fairly well without him. He's not really, he's not really showing much of an impact.
Yeah, as much as I've tried to be a Kindle supporter, and, last year he had his moments where he played pretty well. He just hasn't come with it consistently. And the fact is that Kyle Quincy may be playing better than Kindle right now.
Don't look now.
Oh, man, it hurts me to say that because I hate Kyle Quincy. But, yeah, I mean, McDonald, if we could get him for Jakob Kindle, I would do it in a heartbeat.
And now we move south once again to a team that we just cannot stay away from, the Florida Panthers. We got three potential prospects on our list here from the Panthers, starting with Tom Gilbert, unrestricted free agent. He's got solid numbers. He's only a -6 in Florida, which is kind of saying something. That's probably a +5 to 7 on any other team in the league. 31 years old. We really like the way that he's been playing this year. We think that he could add some value to the Red Wings.
Yeah, Tom Gilbert, I haven't heard much about him in the trade rumor department, but he's the kind of guy that you could put into our defense, and you can almost say, well, who do we have that would be better than him? I can tell you right now that Kyle Quincy is not. You could even maybe put him ahead of Brendan Smith, and that's the kind of guy that he's solid, and he's going to play some good defense. He's been around. Teams obviously want him. And I think he's the kind of guy that would not draw the media that you may want from a trade, but could be really solid in a playoff run.
Yeah, a real under-the-radar type of guy, not really shaking things up. Let's add 4 years and Weaver right now.
Yeah, and if we were talking about the Detroit Lions right now, I would probably do this trade, try and get Weaver for a decent draft pick. But the way the Red Wings use their draft picks, I may try and hold out on Weaver. I'm not huge on him, but I'd probably take Gilbert over him. Weaver, I'd just take off the board.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking to get older. I think we're kind of in the middle of a transition here of the Red Wings team where you see the younger guys playing well, contributing. I don't think we really I know we need veteran presence, but you don't need bad veteran presence.
Our veteran presence comes from Kronwall, Zetterberg, Datsuk. I mean, Kronwall, he's 32, but he's been around, and he's the veteran presence on the D. And him and Eriksson together, and that's our veteran presence we need on the D, and the rest of the guys we can fill in.
So let's get younger here. Another Florida man, Dmitry Kulikov, one of my favorite players, to be honest. He's a restricted free agent at the end of this year. He's young. I think he's only like 23, 24. He's got some skill. He's one of those defensemen that can produce on the offensive end as well with some scoring, given the right system. The only thing about this guy is we think that Florida would probably want someone else young in return to kind of match up the trade.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on Kulikov. I've heard a lot of good things about him. The thing I will say is that to get Kulikov, he is restricted at the end of the year. He's going to require some young guys. Some young guys that obviously Ken Holland doesn't want to give up. And he's been prone to turnovers this year. And though he has some offensive upside, I don't know if my heart could possibly deal with another Brendan Smith on the blue line.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It's one of those guys where he's going to need some development. Players don't really get developed in Florida. They kind of get thrown into the fray. Like, here you go, let's play. There's not much coaching involved down there, as we've seen. But anyway, shifting our focus to Philadelphia, let's talk about Andre Meszaros. Philadelphia doesn't know if they're going to trade him. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, making probably somewhere in the $4 million ballpark. We think he's probably going to get overpaid this offseason just due to the lack of defensemen, really, that are on the free agent market.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot coming out on the defensive side for the free agents this summer. You got Dan Boyle, who's old as dirt, and then not a whole lot after that. And Meszaros, if I was the Flyers, I would sell high right now. He's having a good season. He's been banged up a little bit, but he's having a good season. People are showing interest in him. And come free agency, he's going to be overpaid. He's going to be one of the top few defensemen sought after, and he's going to make more money than he should. And I think it's going to be some team's going to overpay for him, and it's not going to be the Red Wings. And I think they should steer clear of Meszaros.
And we were surprised to find out that he's only 28. This guy seems like he's in his mid-30s. But sticking with Philadelphia here, another name that's been brought up is Luke Schenn. He's got a $3.6 million cap hit for the next 3 years. And the rumor out of Philadelphia is this guy's got bricks in his boots.
Yeah, their biggest problem with Luke Schenn seems to be his foot speed, which is odd to me. I've never heard that before.
No, that's a good stat if you're evaluating NFL wide receivers.
Yeah, but NHL defenseman here with, as Bob said, bricks in his boots. And the only thing that bothers me about Luke Schenn is the $3.6 million for 3 more years. I'm all about conserving the cap space, and I feel like Luke Schenn, who's going to be, somewhere between a 4 and 6 defenseman, we don't need that kind of money wrapped up in that. I mean, he's not going to be in our top 3 considering we have Kronwall, Eriksson, and DeKeyser. So anything lower than that, and 3.6 is a little steep for my taste.
Now we shift our focus once again to another old GOAT. He's getting ready to go out to pasture. Chris Phillips, age 35, from the Ottawa Senators. Boston has showed some interest. He's had some injury problems this season. I think he's only been back for like a couple of games. This is probably another one of those guys that the Red Wings are going to want to stay away from.
Yeah, all signs point to Chris Phillips heading to Boston. And I remember playing NHL back in the day, and Chris Phillips would be paired up with Wade Redden, if that tells you anything. He's old, he's injured, and I didn't even know he was in the league still, to be honest.
So you take Chris Phillips and you subtract 11, and you end up at Tyler Myers, age 24, a guy who came into the league with a lot of promise, still in Buffalo. Buffalo has shown that they're interested in trading him. He's probably going to be quite pricey, and we think that he's one of these guys that's kind of overhyped. He's overrated, kind of a lazy player.
Yeah, he had a great rookie season, and everybody was still on the train of, he's going to be the next Chara. He's huge. He's going to be a great player. And then, a few years later, we're looking, and I'm hearing a lot of people saying, he's really underperforming, and I think we can stamp him with the old Billy Goat stamp.
He gets the Billy Goat stamp.
And that's not what you want. And Tyler Myers, as the Buffalo GM said, he's not going to just give him away. He's looking for a lot in return, and there's a good chance that some team desperate for a defenseman overpays for Tyler Myers at the trade deadline. And God bless you if you do, because I don't think Tyler Myers is worth his weight.
Sticking with Buffalo, another guy who's definitely on his way out, Christian Ehrhoff. Buffalo came to him this week and asked him for a list of 8 teams that he wouldn't want to be traded to. We crunched some numbers and found out that he's going to be making $18 million over the next 7 seasons. So if you do the math, it's roughly between 2 and 3 per, which really doesn't sound that bad. No,
and Ehrhoff, he's a solid defenseman, and he's got an absolute bomb from the point on the power play. And, our power play could use some help. So Christian Ehrhoff is a guy, for that kind of price, I wouldn't mind getting, but at the same time, Buffalo's looking for those young players so they can rebuild, and I'm not willing to give up our young guys.
So we kind of agree. We don't want to give up any young guys, but who would we be willing to give up on the Red Wings? I know we've talked about Kindle. You basically said that you would give Kindle away for some new tape in the locker room, and he's just one of those guys,
Yeah, Kindle, he's been around a few years, and he just hasn't proven anything. Brian Lashoff, he's one of those guys, you don't hear his name during the game broadcast, and it's a good thing. So Lashoff, if someone wanted him, I could maybe see it. Another guy I would give up is Corey Emerton, but I feel like that's a deal sweetener, and he's not going to be a main piece. And the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to trade my future for an older guy to come in. I want to keep the future here. I want to keep the young guys. You've seen what these young guys have come up have done. And we have another batch of young guys down in the minors who are putting up great numbers. And I'd love to see them come up next year and, just roll with that.
Yeah, so we're definitely seeing the future Red Wings in the here and now almost. I don't really even know how the Griffins are still having a team with all the guys that we borrowed from them this year. But something that's been interesting has been talk of trading one of our mainstays, and Pavel Datsyuk. He's still signed for another couple of years. He signed through the 2016-2017 season. Joe, what do you think about trading Pavel?
As good as Pavel is, as good as he is to watch, as fun as he is to watch, for $7.5 million a year, I just don't feel like he produces enough points. He doesn't put enough pucks in the net. I love Datsyuk, don't get me wrong. But if we could get a package of young players, young proven players for him, I would do it. Because at this point, we're going with the youth movement. We got young guys coming up. And I think if we could get another couple young guys to complement the rest of them, I would do it.
Yeah, I think he's 35 right now. He'll be roughly 39 when that contract expires, and we just haven't seen that many 30. There's not that many Jaromir Jagrs out there. There's not that many 39-year-olds that are producing, and I just think he's probably past his prime, to be honest. He's been hurt a lot lately. He's banged up. If we could get 3 solid young guys, like you said, 2 or 3, even that just could contribute and be solid and work into the future. We're heading toward the future, folks. This isn't the 1996-97 Red Wings anymore. We got to get younger, we got to get more solid, and we got to shore up this team.
Yeah, you see teams rebuild Well, this is the Red Wings' current rebuild. They're mixing in the young guys, and this is how they do it. They have the old guys still. They're mixing in the young guys, and, we have 5 forwards coming off the books this summer, all old guys. The young guys are coming up, maybe making room for some new young guys. This is our rebuild. We're rebuilding in transition, and right now it's looking pretty good.
So let's wrap this up. We'll talk about the rest of the season and the playoffs. Johan Franzen came back the other night, and ever since then, he has looked like he is on fire.
Franzen's back, and he's scoring, which is what we paid Franzen to do, for all of eternity. It's key that he keeps scoring, and with him and Datsyuk, all it is, it's about health. If they can stay healthy, this team has a chance to go a long way.
Yeah, we saw Chris Neal trying to get into Franz's head literally the other night. It's gonna definitely be a huge plus if they can stay healthy. If Franzen can avoid any more concussion problems, that's a dangerous injury. It's got lingering effects, but he'll definitely go a long way in helping this team potentially make the playoffs this season, which is what I want to talk about. Do you think we'll make the playoffs? Here on March 1st, 2014, will the Red Wings make the playoffs?
I do, just because of the instability of the Eastern Conference, and I think that the Red Wings have gotten some of their vets back. They got Datsyuk and Franzen back. That's huge. Stephen Weiss is coming back, which let's hope he is a little more productive than 4 points in the 20-something games he played at the beginning of the season. And, we've seen that the young guys who came up, we were wondering if they could keep playing well. Well, they're still playing well, and they're still maybe the best line on our team is Tatar, Yurko, and Sheehan. So if those guys keep it up, the vets are coming back, and, we'll get into the playoffs. And if we can get past the first round, Hank gets back, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, I think another thing that's going to go a long way in that playoff run is just who our coach is, and Mike Babcock, one of the best coaches in the league. I think he's really taken these young guys and helped them, contribute to this team. The team's looked a lot more solid defensively after the Olympic break. I don't know if it has anything to do with how Canada was playing, but he's definitely translated some of that into our defense.
Yeah, and maybe the biggest factor as to our playoff run, and if we get in, is Jimmy Howard. And, Gustafsson, he's played great in the backup role this season. And Jimmy Howard, if he can find his solid play, and like he did last year at the end of the year, how he got us into the playoffs then, he's going to have to play great, and he's going to have to find that because he's had a very ho-hum season. So he's going to need to find his game, and if he plays well, the Red Wings are going to get themselves in.
All right, folks, we hope that you enjoyed our first episode of the Gordie Howe Entrance podcast. For those of you active in the social media world, we invite you to check us out on Twitter at Gordie H Entrance, and please like our page on Facebook. And we hope to catch you more in the future with more of these. So we'll see you then.
Yeah, check us out every day. We do Red Wings post-game, Pistons post-game. We're getting into the Tigers. They're starting up. So check us out. He's Bob. I'm Joe.
And we'll see you tonight.